Did you hear the news? Ben Shapiro has completely dismantled Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson for her puzzling comments about Caitlin Clark.
One of the bizarre controversies of the last week is Caitlin Clark, who is the WNBA's only nameable star. Here, for example, is WNBA team owner Sheila Johnson. Here she is, ripping Caitlin Clark and the fan base for liking Caitlin Clark, saying it's only because Caitlin Clark is white.
In what can only be described as an Olympic gold medal performance in delivering bad takes, Sheila suggested that Caitlin Clark did not deserve to be named Time Magazine Athlete of the Year because, apparently, everyone in the WNBA should be celebrated except for Caitlin Clark.
Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing.
Yes, you heard correctly. It's an everybody gets a trophy mentality taken to the extreme. Shapiro was swift in countering Johnson's argument with his unmistakable rapid-fire delivery, exposing the glaring absurdity of her remarks.
You're not putting the entire WNBA on the cover because not everybody can fit and nobody knows who any of those people are. By the way, 31% apparently of the entire Washington Mystics ticket sales this year came in 2 games. I will give you a guess as to which player was featured in those 2 games.
Not everyone can be elevated to the same standard, and certainly not the entire WNBA. In fact, 31% of the Washington Mystics' annual income comes from the performances of Caitlin Clark and her team. So are we really supposed to ignore that Clark is revitalizing a league that has long struggled for relevance?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest about this. I thought what Wizards owner Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark came off as racist. Sheila Johnson is the black billionaire owner of the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Johnson said she did not agree with Time Magazine making Caitlin Clark the first ever WNBA player to be Athlete of the Year.
Sheila's claim that Clark's success is somehow unfair to the rest of the league reeks of racism, believe it or not.
And with putting Caitlin Clark on the cover. Johnson said the entire WNBA should have been chosen as the League of the Year and that numerous stars should have been put on the cover. She said the WNBA has a long legacy of black stars and that, and I quote, something clicked with the WNBA last year because of the draft. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese, as in, of course, Chicago's Angel Reese.
Are you kidding me? Angel Reese isn't even close to Caitlin Clark, both in terms of skills and popularity. So why is Sheila so intent on undermining Clark's success?
Johnson said, and I quote, there's so much talent out there that's unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. When you single out one, it creates hard feelings, end of quote. Johnson said, what's been happening to black players on social media, and I quote, has got to stop, in that, and I quote again, this division of racism is going to tear us apart, end quote.
Are we now expected to stop praising a player simply because others might be envious? That simply does not seem right. This is a clear case of unfair treatment.
Johnson is saying to me, the majority of WNBA players are black and have always been black, that basketball belongs more to black players than to white, and that it's not healthy for the league to have a white player featured as Athlete of the Year on the cover of Time. Now, I'm pretty sure if WNBA MVP Asia Wilson had made the cover of Time as Athlete of the Year, Johnson wouldn't have had any problem with that. Just not the white girl.
That is absolutely correct. She is essentially suggesting that we should be selective in our praise, judging players by the color of their skin rather than their talent. This is absurd on so many levels.
But this person put this on as a quote to this video. Sheila Johnson's worth $850 million, and she doesn't put a penny back into the neighborhood she comes from. Very interesting. She doesn't even come back to her high school to show little black girls that they can become her. My little cousins go to the same high school. They don't even know she exists. very interesting indeed.
Did you hear that it appears Sheila is actually guilty of the same behavior she's criticizing in Caitlin Clark? That's right, folks. Reports indicate that Sheila herself does not engage in charity or inspire black kids in her neighborhood to become billionaires like herself. This is hypocrisy at its finest.
Well, the league has always been woke, has always had an agenda. The league and the sports media, the establishment sports media that is, and they're surrogates. Always. And they pride themselves on that.
WNBA is inherently a politically charged organization, whether you like it or not. And it's no surprise that these divisive politics are playing out in this controversy.
Since Caitlin Clark stepped into the waters with the Time magazine interview, it's almost like you're gonna see more people, more comments, more demands. You're gonna see it's gonna be less and less about basketball, what you want to see, and it's gonna be a whole lot of this stuff, because it's like she ripped off another layer of the onion, and this one is a big one. And so now people feel like they can just go all in with it.
This is exactly why Sheila is targeting Caitlin Clark, because, like many of those who claim to be woke, she senses that Clark is not bending over backward to please them or fight for her own success.
But this, of course, is the Mystics owner that said that Caitlin Clark should give up her Time magazine award and give it to the entire WNBA. Of course, that has now become a running joke, and the mother of all community checks came down here and nailed her. 31% of Mystics' total home attendance for the 2024 season came from the 2 games versus Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Newsflash. Sheila, in sports, competition is what drives success, not equality of outcome. To say that Clark doesn't deserve recognition is like saying LeBron James should share his accolades with the bench warmers. Greatness works differently.
It's important that we say, you know what? You want to go all in? You want to go in, people with a lot of nonsense? Then guess what? We're going to go in too, and we're going to expose the nonsense.
That is exactly right. Many of these individuals who harbor racist views thrive on inaction or the absence of opposition, which is why speaking out becomes more of a duty than a choice.
For what it is. A lot of times, like you, we're just like, we just want to let's just play basketball. But then when they start saying nonsense, like when the owner of a WNBA team, Sheila Johnson, Washington Mystics, when she says some of the stuff like she said that people are talking about today, it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Then let's play.
The truth is that Caitlin Clark is nothing short of a mythical juggernaut and a cultural phenomenon. She did not ask to be named Athlete of the Year. She earned it. Her skill, charisma, and ability to draw fans make her a once-in-a-generation player. And the numbers speak for themselves.
Well, that skinny white girl was the best thing that ever happened to the WNBA. She's already the most exciting and entertaining player in the league, the entire league, the one you can't take your eyes off of.
The league did not see a surge in viewership simply because fans were interested in mediocre players. They tuned in for Caitlin Clark.
Yet not once did Caitlin Clark complain about the bullying or the cheap shotting. Not once did she say anything but the right thing about how black stars had built this league. The skinny white girl detonated all that. Yes, she brought a lot more white people through the turnstiles, but surely Sheila Johnson doesn't care what color her customers are, does she?
It appears that Sheila is being roasted from all sides for her bizarre and distasteful comments about Caitlin Clark, and this time, it's Ben Shapiro's turn to take aim.
Ready for the ultimate irony about what Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark? Last season, for Caitlin Clark's 2 visits to Washington, the Mystics moved the games from their little home arena, which seats a little under 5,000, to the Wizards Arena, which officially seats 20,356. And thanks to Caitlin Clark, Sheila Johnson's Mystics drew the WNBA's biggest crowd of the year and the WNBA's third biggest crowd of the year.
That's right. Shapiro is not holding back, exposing Sheila's underhanded tactics and pointing out that she benefits from Caitlyn's contributions without giving her the recognition she deserves.
Oh, we saw Sheila Johnson, the odd, weird, whatever you want to call, very rich because, well, she married well, divorced him, and then started stooping the divorce judge with her $500 haircut, her necklaces, her pantsuit. Oh, my God. Talking about how Caitlin Clark shouldn't have been on the cover of Time magazine, should have been the whole league.
Clearly, Sheila Johnson is coming off as ungrateful, especially when Clark has uplifted the entire league, including Sheila's own team.
I am a big fan of Sheila Johnson. I know Sheila very well. She is a great role model, leader, owner, a terrific, successful, wonderful person. I have no idea why she said what she said. It is of course, the player, the athlete of the year, and it's not the league of the year or the team of the year. Caitlin Clark deserves that.
Indeed, Clark deserves all the spotlight and accolades she has received.
The ownership of the WNBA, the commissioner of the WNBA said, look, let's help these ladies out. Let's give them a place to play. So it's the worst business decision ever. If you watch Yellowstone, selling the land for $1.25 per acre, not a great land deal. Where the worst business deal in the history of business deals is the NBA supporting the WNBA. That's who made the league. The women, the African American or white, doesn't matter. Women of the WNBA didn't make shit. Nothing. Zip. Zero. And Sheila Johnson knows that.
Sheila even had the nerve to claim that there is abundant talent in the WNBA. Yet if that were true, why is the league hemorrhaging money every year?
But see, women never like to see other women in sports succeed. My wife said that very clearly. And all we do is see that the level of jealousy. What about me? Think about me. You know, I've said all along, Caitlin Clark's got to be Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Tiger Woods, and name a white guy, I don't know, Joe Namath, all wrapped into one.
It appears that some women are unwilling to see other women succeed. And this is exactly what we are witnessing with Sheila Johnson's disparaging remarks about Clark's success.
And then a woman like Sheila Johnson has the audacity, as Christine Brennan just pointed out, the audacity to question Caitlin Clark when, in fact, Sheila Johnson had to move games. 4,000 to 20,000. Think of the money Caitlin Clark made Sheila Johnson. They only came in there twice, but she was 31%. 31%, damn near a third of all the attendance that the Mystics had the entire year. What exactly did the women of the Mystics build?
Ouch. Those comments must sting Miss Johnson. But the question remains. If Caitlin Clark contributes 1/3 of Sheila's team income, what have Sheila and her team done in return?
I'll hang up and listen. What exactly did Sheila Johnson and whatever woman plays for the Mystics, what exactly did they build? A league that was handed money to play in a 4,000-seat arena? Oh, just stop the stupid. Just stop the incredible stupid.
Here's the thing. The NBA subsidizes the WNBA with tens of millions annually. The league is, frankly, a financial sinkhole kept afloat by goodwill and the deep pockets of the NBA. Yet, Clark has managed to achieve something the league has struggled with for decades. She has generated genuine excitement.
Sheila Johnson should, I don't know, at least send Caitlin some flowers, because she never gives her any flowers in interviews for sure. But no way should Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark alone be on the cover of Time, or so Sheila indicated, and I say baloney to that. Sheila Johnson and every WNBA star should thank God every morning and every night for Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is a transformative figure. Her rookie season was nothing short of extraordinary. Instead of celebrating her as the beacon of hope for a struggling league, Sheila Johnson chose to downplay her achievements in favor of what can only be described as a misguided preference for participation trophies.
Now, to Sheila Johnson's point about Angel Reese, yes, Angel also had all-time rookie impact, but a little more off the court than on it. Angel has far more social media and interview charisma than Caitlin does. Caitlin has a nice but pretty boring off-court persona, in part because Caitlyn tries so hard to avoid that slightest shred of controversy.
That's right. Angel may have a better social media presence, and her popularity might extend beyond the court due to off-court controversies. But when it comes to performance, people aren't buying tickets just because of Angel's rebounds.
Angel did lead the league in rebounds per game. That is quite a feat for a rookie. But I'm not sure anyone buys a ticket to watch rebounding.
This controversy highlights the WNBA's ongoing identity crisis. The league aspires to be taken seriously and to be profitable, but it cannot achieve those goals by tearing down its brightest stars. Caitlin Clark's success should be celebrated, serving as a rallying cry for fans and players alike, rather than being met with unwarranted skepticism and resentment.
Caitlin Clark sells, albeit to lots of new white fans. And I have no doubt some of those new white fans have some anti-black feelings, or maybe even they're just flat out racist. Yet Caitlin Clark did not encourage or influence them to be that way by anything she ever said or did.
In the end, Caitlin Clark's talent speaks for itself. She did not ask for recognition. She earned every accolade through her exceptional skill and charisma. The WNBA is fortunate to have a player of her caliber, and instead of diminishing her achievements, people like Sheila Johnson should be doing everything they can to support her. As for Ben Shapiro, love him or hate him, he is absolutely right on this one. The criticism aimed at Clark is not only unjustified, but also serves as a distraction from the real issues facing the WNBA. If the league wants to survive and thrive, it needs more players like Caitlin Clark and far fewer detractors like Sheila Johnson.